Back here on the Rich Eisen Show, sitting here on the Roku Sports Channel. Radio audience will rejoin in a moment. Look who's back, everybody. Our buddy Whit, Andrew Whitworth.
What's going on?
Prime Video, everybody. So you and Carissa drew the straw to go pre-seasoning?
We did.
With Al and Kirk and
Look, any couple days spent with Al is always worth it.
Dude.
I mean, the guy's so entertaining. But we did. We had a blast.
Did you take Air Al?
We did.
We
took Air Al out there.
Air Al.
So it's not really the short straw. It's more of the convenient straw. You're close by.
Was Carissa on Air Al too?
She was.
Oh, what a... Okay. That's it. I took some Air Al's when he was doing Thursday night for NBC.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. Just listening to him opine, and he will opine on pretty much anything.
He will.
It's fantastic.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It is the best. Every time I get home, my wife's like, "All right, tell me the Al stories. Tell me whatever Al talked about. That's all I want to know about."
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
It is the greatest.
He is the best.
He is the best, and he's just. I will gush about him, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It was actually great, and obviously played in Cincinnati for 11 years.
Yes,
so
sir.
It was great to go back.
Okay. That's
have
right.
some good dinners and enjoy a little good time seeing a lot of the folks I spent a lot of my life with.
Well, that's
in the NFL.
Collinsworth's town too, right? I mean,
oh yeah, I saw him
Chris?
too. Saw him as well.
Okay.
He was over at Jeff Ruby's. You know, everybody's got to go to Ruby's and have a steak when you're in Cincinnati.
When you're in Cincinnati.
Yeah, so I got to go see him and the family.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
all right.
It was good.
So we've got Andrew Whitworth here. The first, let me see, your first game is a good one too,
Oh,
right?
really good one.
Yeah, you've got Buffalo and Miami.
In Miami, baby. Let's go.
Boy.
Gonna be a good one.
South Florida, and then you're in New York. I'm trying to think of the Four Seasons for Al's, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's really the only thing you got to do with our schedule is check the hotel situation.
That's right.
Where is Al staying? That's all you want to know.
We need him happy. We need Al happy.
Rested.
The greatest of all time. Back on the Rich Eisen Show Radio Network, I'm sitting at the Rich Eisen Show desk, furnished by Grainger with supplies and solutions for every industry. Grainger has the right product for you. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Carl Anthony Towns on his way. Look who's already here. It's Andrew Whitworth of Prime Video. Good to see you here. So this is year 3, right, for you?
Year 3, baby. I'm
The
officially
paparazzi.
Media now. I guess I'm like
Don't
official.
say it like that.
Am I officially media? I guess I am.
You are.
Gosh.
Wait till you're, because you're so good at this, so you will have this opportunity as long as you wish to keep doing it. Wait till you're going to run into some people of an age who just like, you played?
Oh, yeah.
Wait till that happens.
Yeah. I get a couple now. Every now and then I'll text some guys, that I still have, relationships with playing. And be like, hey, are you asking me like is this a question you're going to say on air? And I'm always like, don't do that to me. I'm just talking to you. Don't reply like that. Is this something you're going to say? No, I just asked you how you're doing. That's it.
They think your intentions
they just
are not.
They want to know if this is, can I fully share?
On the record.
Right? Am I on the record? Gosh.
Speaking to my cufflinks.
Man, broke my heart.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Maybe think of Jeffrey Hobson in Cincinnati. He still uses the old little silver recorder.
Okay.
And anytime he kind of talks to you, and then he kind of just kind of wiggles in his pocket, and he's like, okay, now I'm on the record.
How does Burrow look? What do we got here?
Good. I had a good conversation with him, ready to go. This now with these 3 preseason games, taking away that 4th, these kind of 2-week window here, I think as fans and everyone watching and covering the game, you're like, let's get to the games.
Yes.
And I think the players feel the same way. I was talking to him about that. He's like, you finish this game, and it's like, man, you're looking at it. There's still 2 weeks till we play our game when we were there last week on Thursday. So this is a long, drawn-out, 2 whole weeks to get ready. Even more time than you have. Think about when you have a bye week in the season, that feels long. This is even longer than that. So guys just are itching to play, and that's what he was like. You know what? There's a couple things to get ready. I'm ready to game plan. I'm ready to focus on one opponent and say, hey, let's go play in a game and try to win. Get past this camp stuff and let's go.
Is it true he can't throw 3 days in a row? That true?
You know what? That one I don't know the answer to, but I do know this. He is locked in, and there's a different feel to their team. I mean, I've been around them the last few years.
What do you mean?
You can tell defensively, like talking to Lou Anarumo, I think last year, he didn't feel like they communicated as well as they probably could have, and it wasn't what he was used to. Losing Von Bell, losing Jesse Bates, some of those guys in that secondary. When you start to do that, it's just like offensive line play a lot of time for those guys. Communication, a feel for one another, being able to kind of know how to play off of each other. This year, getting Von back, Obviously, they've upgraded there with Geno Stone. They feel like this year he felt like already in camp he sees elite communication. He sees a group that he feels like he can call the kind of game he wants to call. So not just Joe Burrow, but really defensively, how they feel as an offense with Amarius Mims now, Trent Brown there. I feel like they think this team feels like they got a chance to go win this conference and represent in the Super Bowl again. And you can kind of feel that in the aura they're walking around with. There feels like a presence that, you think of the last couple of off seasons. I mean, training camps, they come with Joe Burrow's been hurt. He's had surgery. He's had a calf. He's all these things. When they're walking into week one, they're not real sure who they are. They felt pretty confident who they think they are.
And the other team that was there that night is got another quarterback who had an injury-marred season-ending injury last year, and Anthony Richardson. We had Shane Steichen on the show yesterday. He's
the best, man.
Dude, he was like jumping through the screen. And last year, first year as a head coach, he was kind of a little bit more close to the vest.
Yeah.
We saw a side of him yesterday where he was just gushing about Anthony Richardson, who had quite a night on Prime Video, where nice drive and then a pick six.
Yep.
So what do you make of Indianapolis's chances? Because that changes the tenor of the AFC South if they are very good.
I think Shane Steichen is crazy impressive. I got a chance to visit with him some, and even after the game, the same thing. He kind of I just went up to say, hey, it was good seeing you again, blah, blah, blah. And he walks over and I'm like, well, you know this. It's like, hey, I got to go on the set right now.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, and he just kept talking. And I'm like, oh, this is great. So it's like kind of getting a chance to hear him, how pumped up he was to get his guys out there. But yeah, I think with Anthony Richardson, it's just going to take time. I mean, you look how quick and short his first season was, but we started to see glimpses. You look at that Rams game, down 23-0, bringing them all the way back, getting into overtime. You saw some of the effect he can have running and throwing. I think with me, it's more about seeing him progress, like all young rookie quarterbacks. Playing the game from the pocket, playing the game in those situations when people kind of figure out what you're good at and they take it away from you, how you adjust. And then the biggest thing that I was concerned, and I said this last year when Chris and I were flying over, I was like, do you remember last year we actually had the Colts last year in the preseason in Philadelphia, and I was watching the tape of him against the Bills in his first action, and he runs in the end zone, in the corner of the end zone on one of the plays. And it's kind of one of those plays where you're about to score and you're going to get hit, but it's going to be kind of, you've already gotten in the end zone for sure. There was no dilemma in that. And he took the shot square. And I was like, in this league, you've got to learn you can never take those shots. Lamar Jackson's an artist you always think he's about to get hit hard. He finds ways to get down, to get underneath tackles and hits. Josh Allen, he has his own style, but the jumping and the leaping and all the things he does, you're actually avoiding the big high impact when you do that as well. And the fact that he took that shot, it made me concerned for him, because you've got to have a feeling for that in this league. And if you don't avoid those shots, you're going to get injured a lot. And so he's got to figure out, too, when he gets out in space, how do I stay available for my football team more so than just every little yard on the field? Use your feet, make plays, but also find ways to get down.
Andrew Whitworth, Prime Video here on the Rich Eisen Show. So in 1 week from Thursday, it's the season. We're kicking it off in Kansas City. Week after that, what a week two kickoff. Because last year, Miami not holding serve at home against Buffalo not only cost them the division, it earned them a trip to an igloo, right? And in terms of needing to operate to the best of their ability, clearly 70-degree weather, that's the winner for them.
Yep.
And so it's them hosting Buffalo again, right off the bat. This is after they start the season with a game against Jacksonville. And so this is it. They start off with two home games. Going 2-0 in 5 days would make the world of difference. What do you make of this game all the way in advance? Because it is one of those division games. You got to win them at home.
Yeah.
And for Buffalo to kind of overcome, not again, when we talk about narratives, it's stuff we talk about, and that's why it's important to us. It might not be to the guys in the locker room, but truly, like, a lot of people think Buffalo is ready for the getting here. So what do you make of this game?
Yeah, because I think it's interesting because you look at this Dolphins team, they've had these outputs that just blow us all away offensively. And last year they have one against Denver, and they play this Buffalo defense, and Buffalo shuts them down and wins the game the next week. You've seen what they've been able to do to them. Now, I think this is a different situation, not really because of anything Buffalo's changed on the offensive side, but you look in camp, they've been banged up in the secondary. Matt Milano's gotten hurt again. They're kind of going into this game, not limping into this thing. I think this Buffalo team's going to be great, but they haven't really had all their guys and had the opportunity to prepare probably that they wished for going into this game. So I think that plays into Miami's favor. I think Miami has listened to the fact that they are great, and they've become kind of a Cowboys narrative, right? A little bit of what we always talk about the Cowboys. The Cowboys is much longer, but with this short span under Mike McDaniel, it's been, man, great regular season, great beginning to the regular season, crazy explosive. Now show us a playoff win, right? And that's really kind of become what we've talked about the Dolphins the last few years. So it's, hey, can you do more than the month of September, October? When we get into November, December, is this the same football team? And that, to me, is what really will tell the story of Miami. I think that they really need to take advantage of this start. You got Buffalo that's been struggling a little bit in camp with injuries in the secondary. You got to get after them. You got to get off to a fast start. But then when we get to the second half of the season, what is your foundation built in? And I think that's always going to be the concern with the Miami Dolphins. It's built in. The ball's got to come out really fast. We're going to spread the field, and we're going to be crazy speed everywhere. In the month of November and December, football players aren't moving as good as they do in the beginning. And the ball coming out fast in cold temperatures when you got to run the ball and play defense is always going to be a struggle. So they've got to show, I think, that there's other levels to what this offense can do than just that. And that's going to help them take that next step.
And then you got the other two AFC East games the next week with New England at the Jets. A lot of, the same high hopes a lot of people had for the Jets last year have returned because Rodgers looks healthy and things of that nature. You've got the AFC North, which is part of our poll question of the most tough, which is the most tough division in football. Who would you peg as the team that could derail a Chiefs' third straight Super Bowl appearance?
I think that's the best thing. The best narrative of this whole entire season is that not only are the Chiefs possibly going to win a third Super Bowl, but nobody's willing to really step out there and say, is there anybody that's that better than the Chiefs right now? So it really looks like all year long we're going to think this is a possibility. I look at the AFC North and probably, to me, really what I said about Cincinnati, I feel something special there. I think in Cleveland we've got to see Deshaun Watson do more, to really think they're a contender. But I think that division's going to be really good. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be special again. So I think it's going to come down to Cincinnati and Baltimore, and I think the winner of that division can unseat the Chiefs. I really do believe they can, and I think they're built to. I think Cincinnati, obviously, over the last few years has gotten the best of them in the totality of the matchups, and I believe that they think they can beat them, and there's obviously a lot of animosity between those two. So I think Cincinnati can do it. I also think that we're going to see from this Jets team, what their health situation looks like, and I don't think it's just about Aaron Rodgers to me. I saw the clip in practice a few weeks ago or last week for the Giants. He's throwing a go ball down the sideline to Garrett Wilson for a touchdown, and people are like, oh, man, this looks awesome. What I actually noticed of the play,
the
Rich,
protection?
You go watch the protection of that play. Watch what Tyron Smith does to Brian Burns. Watch on the right side what they're doing in protection. When I watched that clip and I saw that, I said, all right, this team could be one of the top teams in the AFC, because if those guys are healthy and they're protecting him like that, they're going to be a really good football team.
Well, I mean, their defense, if you give them 21 points, they might just hold serve, man.
I mean, you look how good they've been with how bad they've been on offense. That's what a lot of people don't give credit to. It's really hard to play good defense when you're continually put in bad positions,
right?
Bad field position, turnovers in your own territory, all those things. They have continued to be great on defense even with all of that. So if they put up that kind of defense again, and he's got a line that's protecting him, and they're running the football effectively, this Jets team's as good as anybody in that conference.
What about the Texans?
You know what? Here's the thing. I think everybody's on that bandwagon, right?
Well, that's what Brockman said.
That is the top bandwagon of the season right now. And inevitably, that usually doesn't end up well. I don't like bandwagons. So I think that even time we're this excited before the season starts, it just feels
too
like...
many people? Is that what you're saying?
Everybody's in. And I worry. Now, I will say this. Obviously, the Rams just went down and scrimmaged them, and every single person walked away like C.J. Stroud is the man. This guy is the real deal.
Yeah.
And he is special. And when you got a special one at that position in this league, you are always in contention to win it. And so I think they have a really talented roster. I think that, CJ played awesome last year. I think inevitably there's going to be a team that has an answer for them. I also don't think that division was that strong last year. So I think that division's going to be a little better. I think Jacksonville's going to have something to say and give them contention. And I think they're going to get better shots because targets matter in this league. Whenever a team knows that you're good and whenever they say, oh, this is the team that's supposed to be the best, you get a different performance every week. I think the Houston Texans this year, C.J. Stroud this year, will get a different level of respect and a different performance from every team they play. It's going to be a much tougher road than it was last year.
But you're not wrong, though. I mean, it's been 20-plus years since we had a three-peat opportunity, and it was that Patriots team that made it to the divisional round. The Chiefs look great. I know they lost L'Jarius Sneed, but they do regenerate, and they're faster on offense. They are faster on offense. And Kelsey's still Kelsey, and Mahomes has the ability to do what Jordan does, which is to take any slight and ball it up and spit it back at the rest of the competition. And him being chosen 4th overall in the top 100 list, even though most of those votes occurred during their offensive drought of November and December last year, I don't think there's going to be any distinction made in his mind about being pissed off right now. You know?
His ability to lead and have a self-belief about his football team, you look at last year, everything they went through, and how every week he stood up there and said, these guys will make the plays. I believe in my skill guys. I believe in them making the plays when the
even
times
when
come.
he had the very uncharacteristic explosion on that offensive offsides on Kelsey that wiped out the win over the go-ahead play on the Bills, I took that to mean like I'm not going to go. It wasn't on Kelsey was the one who made that play. It was Kadarius Toney who lined up offensively offsides. I took that to mean like I'm not going to yell at my guys. I'm mad at them and I'm pissed off at what's going on. I'll just outwardly rip the refs and be uncharacteristic and in shaking Josh Allen's hand. Like that was when I thought to myself, wow, this is something really getting to Mahomes. And then we got our answer. You know,
I think he's one of the more special leaders at that position in this league. His ability to make people around him better, to inspire people around him, to continue to be the guy who takes the brunt of everything for his team is really rare. You don't have to spend much time with him to realize that. I got a chance to go to his foundation event this offseason and spend some time with him in Las Vegas, and what a special dude. And you can see very easily why that football team fights for him the way they do.
And they just got Juju Smith-Schuster back. He got cut loose by New England. And they just literally, during our conversation, waived Kadarius Toney.
Yep. Not a shocker. Not a shocker.
So that's that. All right, we're back here on the show. Big Whit still here. Andrew Whitworth, you're going to Vegas this weekend, correct?
I am,
Why
Rich.
are you going to Vegas this weekend?
We got a little LSU-USC rivalry to handle this weekend, baby.
What a game.
Why is that game being played in Vegas?
Kickoff classic in Vegas. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning is, but, you know, create some hype.
But
nice neutral site.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. It's an excuse to go to Vegas.
Right, exactly.
I know, right? Yeah, twist your arm.
I'll survive.
Okay, so what do you think?
I'm pretty excited about it. You know, we've been waiting for this one, Rich.
What do you mean?
2003 national championship, the first national championship that Nick Saban won.
Yes.
At LSU. We were the BCS national champions, which they actually give you a trophy for. So there's a crystal ball trophy they give you. Yes.
Right, sure.
And thankfully to Michigan, who really messed it all up, they let USC blow them out in the bowl game, and then USC got voted the USA or AP poll national champions. I'm just saying, it all comes back. Michigan makes the whole world go round, right? So it's really always Michigan's fault.
Please.
Yeah, right.
So basically, they got the AP championship. We got the actual trophy. So I called them the paper champions, and we got the real trophy. So, you know, this weekend, we get to settle it a little bit.
Who would have won between LSU and USC that year?
Oh, I mean, go Tigers. Are you kidding me? No doubt.
You would have road graded them?
Oh, we would have won. Listen, here's the thing. I would say this. We'd probably give them the skill positions, okay? Obviously, Reggie Bush was a really special player. Matt Leinart, great player. No offense, Matt Mock, LSU quarterback and team dentist of the Denver Broncos. But, funny story. But I would say that up front, I mean, the majority of our entire offensive line played in the NFL. The majority of our defensive line were first-round picks in the NFL.
You would have won the trenches.
So we had a pretty good football team. So the reality is, I think we've been pretty good. Not to mention most of our corners on that team played in the NFL as well. So
I love it. That's
I think it's a good
this
debate.
Weekend.
But
I
this
love it.
weekend, we sell it, out in Vegas in the desert.
LSU and USC in the desert. Andrew Whitworth here. He's going to that game. What's the most pissed off you ever made Nick Saban?
Oh, boy. My freshman year in college, I might have gone out a little bit too much after the game, and we had film sessions at 6 a.m. or something, and I showed up late, and he would always wait at the door with his glasses, doing his little thing, just waiting for every guy to walk in there, and I was one of the last ones, and it was the last time I was ever late to anything in my life.
What he aired you out?
Oh, Nick could air you out in the best. This is not older Nick that he is now. This was like young Nick, and when he went then, there was no holding back. And so I've seen guys cry. I've seen guys leave the room. What? I mean, this guy, when he let into you, he was so good at it. But what people don't realize about Nick is everything's thought through. He knows exactly how far he's going to go. Mm-hmm. He knows exactly how to push all the buttons. He's a sports psychology guy, always was. We'd meet with sports psychologists, like the captain's group on the team would meet with a sports psychologist. And, you'd have these meetings like that guy's not telling Nick everything you're telling, but probably isn't. Maybe he's not.
He's not supposed to.
Maybe he's not. But you would meet as a group with him, and you'd have these meetings, how you could talk to coach about this or that and those kind of things. You're kind of like, this feels like maybe coach is putting all these questions up here, but I'm not saying he did. But he's big into sports psychology. He always was. And so there was always a thought process behind everything he did. Even if there was somebody from the university that came in to say, hey, you guys, you class checkers, those kind of things. Like, hey, you guys aren't going to class, blah, 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 blah. Like, he would go after them if they were wrong, or maybe they didn't have the information right about whether a guy missed, or because he wanted to show his team, like, hey, I'm going to be hard on you, but I also always have your back. And so he was very unique in that way. You always felt like, man, he's thought through every reaction. Everyone sees these as like anger tirades, but no, this is part of the process. He's developed a process for how he thinks he's going to, achieve you becoming a championship football player and being elite at what you do. And this is just part of it. And so he kind of has thought out exactly how he's going to do things. And so I walked in late, and he made sure, it was me and another freshman, he made sure that we knew we would never walk in a meeting late again. And we did not ever come in a meeting late again.
When he aired you out, he probably comes up to your chest, though, right? I
mean,
but
Nick's smart. Again, I always thought it through. Nick's tirades always happen in front of everyone and in front of all the staff, to where there's always like, you would never get out of line because it's like, all right, everyone's around or the coaching staff's around, so I got, I'm going to keep my. He would never do that like in his office. In his office, you'd get like, how are you doing? Are you doing all right? Like, how can I help you be successful? You weren't going to get the tirade in person. You were going to get the tirade in front of the group. So he's always thought that through.
Next level.
He's good.
Okay.
He's good. He's the best.
Yes, he is. He is. Andrew Whitworth here from Prime Video. So we were going through the schedule. Your third game is Dallas at New York with the Giants.
Back-to-back New York trips.
Yeah, I know. Well, Al's probably going to stay in the same room in the Four Seasons for the whole week, I imagine. So when it all comes down to it, your opinion of the Dallas Cowboys is what?
I think it's been an interesting, I think everyone's kind of given their opinions on the CeeDee Lamb thing. I don't understand really, honestly, how this one got this far down the road.
But that's what they do.
It's what they do. And it always feels like sometimes it becomes just this power thing. Like we could do this, so we're going to do this way. Because it just feels like from a team camaraderie, the culture, like that's really what you're thinking about. This should have been done far and away ago.
But
He's your best offensive player.
Does it really matter though? Like when you're there, when it's week 3 and it's go time, right? Let's just say they don't sign
until another issue comes up, and because players, what they don't understand is players start to treat that the same way we treat it. That's how your own team treats it, and they go, you know what? Here we go again. Y'all are going to do this with another one of our guys, or I'm in this situation. Y'all are going to do this to me. You start to create this underlying animosity to any time these situations come up. You're not going to just do the right thing and take care of the guy. You're going to make them go all the way down through the whole carousel of like, you're bad, you're being selfish, and we aren't ready to do this, and blah, blah, blah. And so now 3 weeks from now, though, when they're playing the Giants in New York, it's going to have nothing to do with their football season.
But what about
it kind of does?
But what that's the question. I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry, but
no, you're great.
All in That's the concept. This is what stuff you'll be talking about it on your week 3 pregame set. Whenever you, in your postgame, talk about the rest of the week. Because, again, I know you're required to do that because we were for all those years for Thursday Night Football. There's a full segment about what's coming up. Dallas will be on your plate 90% of the time about what's coming up. And the concept of the all-in, Mike McCarthy doesn't have a contract. It's possible Dak won't have a contract. Micah Parsons will be due something. Does that matter? Does it come home to roost in any way, shape, or form during the playing season? Does it put more of a lid on a boiling pot if they're 3-4? If they're
100%, the first big loss they have, it's going to be it will be navigation through that entire week. You will be in a very fragile phase of, hey, this guy doesn't have his contract, he doesn't have his. The team's a little agitated that they've got to deal with that, because here's the thing: we're only talking about the guys who are getting paid. The rest of the guys on the team feel that too, because they're going, hey, this is my guy, or I believe in this guy, or I see this guy do it the right way all the time. Look at Dak Prescott. Like, dude's a tremendous human being. How he goes to work, how he does everything. Every guy on that team's watching that and going, wait, why would they do that to that guy? Like, all he does is do it the right way. So if they do it to him, then for sure I have no chance. So you create this attitude where, one, guys pick a side. I either think that he's right, or that dude needs to just play football and shut up and stop worrying about his contract. And so you create that conversation with amongst your team. It's no different than any other company. Peers have a feeling or an opinion about it's, somebody else they work with situation at that company. We're human beings too. And so those guys start to create that. And so you can't say that you're not eroding the culture a little bit when you continue to go down these roads and make it nasty and make it a fight when you're doing something like this. It's just a fact. You create that animosity within your team.
So how far do they go in relation to who you think might go further, or not at all? Like that's my macro way of asking about the NFC.
I think the way it affects them is if they don't get off to the start and success doesn't happen early, you're going to see it really affect this football team. Multiple reasons. I think that, when you look at defensively, they bring in Mike Zimmer, who's a really intense, probably what you would consider nowadays a little bit more of or not little, definitely an old school coach in that mentality of how hard he's going to push guys and he's going to be tough on them and those kind of things. So that's not this lighthearted environment, right? And then, you look at the stress Mike McCarthy's under to produce wins in the playoffs and making some kind of run at a Super Bowl. They're under lots of pressure. And they don't have these contract situations figured out with, not like guys were guessing, do you want Micah Parsons on your team? Yes, you want Micah Parsons on your team. Do you want Dak Prescott? Yeah, you want Dak Prescott. But you want these guys in a situation where we've already taken care of them, and now we have money and opportunity to go get other guys. We're not hearing about them adding a bunch of great players. We're talking about whether or not they want to keep their 3 best. So it's like, what is the conversation about? And so I just think it's going to be a struggle for them, because also, let's talk about it, Tyron Smith's in New York. I think that they've got a chance of having, obviously interior, they have a really special line, but they're going to have a rookie playing left tackle in Guyton. And so he's going to make mistakes. So they're going to be a little off, and there's going to be a struggle, and there's going to be development time for him as well. So this team is, in my opinion, are they going to be good? They should be good offensively, but they're also fragile. One little thing, and it can start to go downhill fast.
The 90 seconds I have left, is this the Lions and Niners conference, or the Eagles pop in? Anybody else in the North pop in? What do you got
interested to see
Atlanta?
The Eagles. I want to see if these coaching changes have fixed them, because that roster couldn't be more talented. But, Rich, I'm gonna be a homer and say I think people need to watch out. If Los Angeles Rams are healthy up front, I think they're going to make a run at it. I think this offense could be really, really special. And I think the 2 young draft picks they got in the first and second round
from Florida State,
Brandon Fisk and Jared Verse are the real deal. And I think they're going to be really good football players. So if you look at what they did with Byron Young last year and Kobe Turner, I think this defense is going to be they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. I think last year was a lot of inexperience other than AD. I think this year they got some talent and more experience. I think they're going to be better, and I think they're going to be right there fighting San Francisco for this division.
You think so?
I do.
Okay. I mean, that's a big, and plus in terms of, playoff positioning and what have you, that's a huge week 1 game. You got at the Lions. I mean, Rams and Lions.
It is.
That's
Rams, Lions from the start. It's going to kind of tell us where these 2 teams are in the NFC of chasing the Niners down and representing.
So exciting.
Let's
Andrew
go.
Whitworth,
Football's
Prime
back.
Video. I know, right? I want to start playing now. We have to wait, though. Everybody, check out this man and the rest of the awesome Prime Video crew on Amazon. We're back with Karl Anthony Towns in a sec. Still here. And another reason why the Rams offense is going to be terrific is not because Stafford is great and you got the Puka, and I think people are
I know
still
what you're about to say already.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big long wind-up. Cooper Kupp. They drafted, honestly, one of the greatest players offensively in the history of the University of Michigan. I'm not kidding you.
And him and Kyron Williams look like twins when they have the football. It is crazy watching them run.
He and Blake Corum.
I think Blake Corum and Kyron Williams literally look like twins when they run the football, and it seems like he's going to be a big part of this.
How much is he going to get out there, do you think?
I think he's going to play. I think him and Kyron both. I mean, this team, you look at what they invest in the offensive line.
Yeah.
The plan's to run the football. I mean, they're going to try to run the football and be a physical team like they were the last half of the year last year.
Because that's how the rest of the passing game works, right? I mean,
and that's what under McVay, when they've run the football well, that offense has been really hard to stop. And so I think for them, that's what they did the last half of the year, and Stafford was on fire. And they feel like they've got Cooper Kupp back where they really, feel really confident in his ability to affect every team every week. And Puka Nacua seems like he's going to be fine for week 1. So I think they're excited about what they can be offensively for this season.
Okay. Maybe you're going to hold on to your tickets?
Don't get rid of those tickets
What are
yet.
you looking at me for?
Please.
Because you sell them.
Because you, honestly, you
By
do
the
it
way,
all the time.
He's going to be proof that I'm going to be there Thursday night because I'm going to yell at them because my seats are right where their set's going to be.
I have
Just
gone to
go.
preseason games 2 years in a row.
Exactly.
That's a fan.
I will go to
that
that
is
game.
definitely a
I'm
fan.
off.
Thank you,
It's not a
Whit.
See? Me and Brock.
Definitely a fan.
The crap we take.
As soon as he leaves the studio, you're literally going to put tickets for sale.
Oh, you guys.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.